Artificial intelligence is machinery demonstrating intelligence comparable to humankind. Because natural intelligence is so interconnected with consciousness and emotionality, when computers are programmed to mimic the human mind, the simulation can come across as very unsettling. Some of the anxiety around AI stems from the fact that it could lead to mass unemployment, the possibility that it could be used for dangerous and destructive purposes, and the idea that AI could become self-aware and humans will be unable to control or deal with the moral implications of it. Upcoming artificial intelligence might make you think twice about how convenient and harmless Siri really is. So today, on Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 creepy things artificial intelligence has done. Creepy artificial intelligence created portrait that fetches $432,500 at auction. In October 2018, a major auction house sold a portrait that they estimated for as little as $7,000. It ended up selling at $432,500. The signature on the lower right-hand side was a small section of the code that was used to create the piece of art. The equation was written by a collective known as Obvious Art. 15,000 portraits were fed into the system between the 14th to the 20th century. The product is what some might describe as distressing, a portrait known as Edmund de Bellamy, an entirely imaginary man from a completely fictitious family. The whole familial line is painted in the old master style a la Rembrandt, with distorted features and unusually blurry faces. The generator makes new paintings based on the data it is fed, and the discriminator then tries to decipher whether or not a given painting is real or fake. The less certain that the discriminator is about an artificial painting, the more likely it is to look authentic. This is not the first example of artificial intelligence artists testing the limits and possibilities of computer-generated creativity. In fact, a section of the code sparked a bit of controversy because it was borrowed from another AI artist, Robbie Barrett. The 19-year-old code was shared under an open-source license, so the parameters of ownership are unclear. The highest bidder on this piece was a phone buyer who wished to be kept anonymous. They were one of 5 parties who were bidding on the work. While the signature at the bottom refers to the generative adversarial network itself, the actual authorship is up for debate. Is this the product of a computer, the men who programmed it, or the influences it was fed? Artificial intelligence evolved creepy images to please a monkey's brain. Xtreme is an artificial intelligence algorithm thought up by the brains of Harvard. Its purpose is to stimulate specific neurons in a monkey's brain that are associated with facial recognition. The equation is then adjusted as the primate watches a screen that spits out images representative of which neurons were firing. This works by shuffling images and, depending on how strong the neurological response is, using that information to create a new set of synthetic images. This particular test was done on a monkey named Ringo in April of 2018. Gradually, the screen went from showing grey and shapeless images to ones that the researchers found much easier to interpret. While the visuals are unnerving and obscure to the human eye, they obviously resemble aspects of facial features. The neuroscientists started recognizing what they think could be the images of a monkey kept in a nearby vicinity and a caretaker that looks after them, the aforementioned Ringo, regularly came into contact with. The experiment is meant to provide a range of forms and a visual lexicon that is impartial to our human viewpoint. While it is impossible to remove human perspective entirely, in terms of interpretation of data, this study has eliminated a lot of the biases that previously neuroscientists were working against. They were even able to limit their partiality in interpretation by running the provoked images through another algorithm that compared the synthetic images with natural photos to confirm whether they were actually seeing the characteristics of a face that they thought they were. Stephen Hawking warned artificial intelligence could end mankind. For years, Hollywood has played on our fear of technology matching or surpassing human evolution, but in recent years, some of the world's leading minds in AI have confirmed that these feelings are not entirely unwarranted. While many believe that humans can remain in control of technology and use it to solve a multitude of problems, the late Stephen Hawking was wary. While he agreed that technological advancement promoted extraordinary progress in so many long-standing global issues, he also suggested that our biological evolution, which is comically slow in comparison to the rate at which an algorithm can redesign itself, simply could not compete. Others have similar reservations. Elon Musk, Bill Gates, and Steve Wozniak are also worried about the danger that rapid technology advancements present. These are the minds that pioneer the technology frontier. Hawking, who was told as early as 1963 that he didn't have much longer to live, passed only a few years ago in 2018. He is widely known as the most brilliant theoretical physicist of his time, often being compared to the likes of Einstein. Hawking believed that AI was a life in and of itself that could improve and reproduce itself. He warns that computers could in fact replace the human species entirely. The astrophysicist felt, however, that there were in fact many man-made potential threats to humankind. Climate change, overpopulation, and the risks of communicating with life outside of our planet among them. Hawking was quoted at the Web Summit Technology Conference in Portugal saying that success in creating effective AI could be the biggest event in the history of our civilization, or the worst. We just don't know. So we cannot know if we will be infinitely helped by AI, or ignored by it and sidelined, or conceivably destroyed by it. In order to prevent the worst-case scenario, Hawking suggested that we aggressively focus on legislature to establish boundaries that will help keep us safe by implementing best practices and responsible management. Artificial intelligence is a revolutionary advancement that can be used to solve so many of the world's problems. But when AI is able to imitate natural intelligence and impersonate consciousness, as well as it has over the past few years, it does make some people a little uncomfortable. We have no way of knowing what AI holds for us in the future. So many of our anxieties simply stem from a general fear of the unknown. The best way forward is cautiously, optimistically, and with an eye for progress and a heart for altruism. And who knows, maybe Siri ends up being exactly as harmless as you thought all along. But what do you make of these 3 creepy things artificial intelligence has done? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.